All right, so you came here looking for a Fire King's deck profile. Well, here we go. I will start off by saying this is the more expensive version, and I think this is the way that it needs to be played right now, that it kind of has to be played to be competitively viable. Without the Sinful Spoil stuff, you're losing a lot of consistency, because that's one thing that this deck, I'm not going to say it lacks consistency on its own, but it kind of does. If you just put 3 structure decks together, you know, it'll be a good deck, and you know, you could probably win at locals with it, but not consistently with it. And I think that's what we want, is consistency. So Sinful Spoils, you definitely want to run it. But anyway, let's just get right into it. I'll go into the main deck first. So you have Fire King Ponix 3. So this is your main guy. This is your starter. He's not your only starter, but he is your main starter, and he is great. I'll get more into about what they do later on in the actual combo guide. We're gonna do 3 Garunix. The Sacred Fire King Garunix. Okay, and a lot of people are putting this at 2, but he's so good, you know, just in case you want to keep one of these in the grave, you want to keep one in your hand at all times, you just want him around. Fire King Kieran, another one, you want him in your hand, you want him in the grave, just wherever. These are both level 8s. They're both level 8s. They're going to get you into your main, kind of your best play in this deck. And as far as the other Fire Kings, and these are all in the structure decks. So 3 structure decks getting you this far, the core. Really good engine. This is one of the best looping engines as far as looping resources that's out right now. Arguably, I'd say it's better than Rescue Ace as far as looping resources, or at least equal. You know, it's not as strong of a play as, you know, Turbulence Set 4 Pass. It's not that strong of a play as far as, you know, getting resources out, but as far as just looping the resources, getting them back from the grave, they all synergize really well, and just make stuff happen. Fire King Avatar Rangball. This one is the Monster Negate. No, this is the Spell and Trap Negate. And then you have Barong. This is the Monster Negate. Okay, so that's it for the Fire King stuff. As far as the Fire King monsters go. Then you have 3 Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils. You know, everybody's, you know, I know they're expensive. They're like $80 a piece. I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do about it, and they're probably going to get more expensive as this deck gets more popular. And then we're going to do the 1 Snake Eye card and the Diabell Star of the Black Witch. So here is your Snake Eyes Flamebird's Dragon. Yeah, you remember that card that you pulled out of Age of Overlord and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst secret in the box. Well, it's really not, because this is actually viable, and this card will probably go up in value, and luckily I held on to mine. I think I got 2 copies. I would only play 1 in this deck though, and then 1 Snake Eye Ash until we get the new support. Then we can start changing up these ratios. And there's some stuff already that you can cut and change up to your liking. This is just the particular build that I think is going to be the most viable. So we're going to have 2 of the Fire King Sanctuaries. So this card is basically, this is your best spell card in the deck. It's going to set these, the Fire King Island. And plus this is the card that lets you do the Xyz summon on your opponent's turn. It's really good. And this one is going to let you add a card to your hand. You can destroy 1 monster in your hand or field. This is how you're going to destroy the Ponix. And if you do, you're going to add 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand. And in the combo video, we'll talk about which ones to add and which ones not. These, I've been seeing people add these, and I just added these to test them. The Skyburn is really good because it's a quick play. And basically you target an equal number of Fire King monsters you control and cards your opponent controls, destroy them. Non-targeting destruction. Really nice, really nice. Circle of the Fire Kings. This one, target 1 fire monster you control and 1 fire monster in your graveyard. Destroy the monster you control and special summon the other one. So that's a really easy way to get this guy out. And keep in mind, he's a rank 8 as well. So, you know, and he does some really neat stuff. He's pretty good, boss monster, big body. And then let me go into the rest. Let me clean these off the board. But that's as far as your specific archetype stuff. This is your last one, the Fire Formation Tinky or whatever. When this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 or lower beast, warrior, monster from your deck to your hand. All beast, warrior, monsters you control gain 100 attack. You can only activate this. You can only activate 1 Fire Formation Tinky per turn. So the beast warrior, this one is the beast warrior. This one right here, the Arvada, and the Rangbali, and the Barong. So whatever you're needing at that moment, and it's an easy way just to get a body on the field. So you have to run this right now. I think when the new Bonfire card comes out and Phantom Nightmare, I think that one just goes away. So we'll see how it goes over here in the TCG. And now let's go into our hand traps. You pretty much already seen. I don't want you to see that secret sauce that I'm putting on it. 3 Imperm, of course. This deck can handle 9 hand traps easily, and you could argue it could handle 4. I mean, that can handle 12. 3 Ash, of course, and 3 Veiler. I think these are the most powerful in the format for going second or going first. It gives you follow up, and it gives you something to set. I mean, just there's always something there. And then a called by to help make your plays go through. If you want more gas, you can get rid of this. And, you know, if you just wanted more gas and not as much defense and stuff like that. But this is a defensive card and an offensive card. You know, it can be used multiple ways. And then for my secret sauce, the Super Polymerization. Yeah. It's really strong in this format. Keep in mind, Rescue Ace is still just huge right now. I mean, everybody's playing it. Not to mention, you have lots of targets, dark targets. Everybody's playing type specific. I mean, it's just, you're going to have a Super Poly target in pretty much every matchup, and it can help win you games. Also, it can help make plays go through to dodge Veilers and stuff like that. To dodge Veilers and Imperms. So yeah, I mean, don't sleep on Super Poly. It's a really good card right now, and I don't think it's gonna get hit by the ban list. I mean, it's not that powerful to where it's changing the meta. Okay, and 2 Pots of Prosperity. This deck, through playtesting, it can be a little bricky. So this really help you grab the cards you need, because this card does depend on, it has multiple starters, but at any point, if they get Ashed, Imperm, or Veilered, you're kind of in a bind. Now let's go into the extra deck. This one, let me put all the links in a separate area. And the Xyz. So, okay, we'll start with the Xyz. So, 1 Dean Grizu. This one's just good for non-targeting send removal. Sometimes you need that. And then we have Typhon. I'm missing like 2 cards that I want to put in here. The Ambulance or the Ambulawell or whatever that one's called. I don't have that one. And then I'm missing the Salamangreat card. I'd want to put that in there. And we have Zeus. This deck can make Zeus fairly easily, not super easily. The new Garunix card, Hyang of the Fire Kings. This card is just your board nuke. I think it's non-targeting destroy. Yeah, you can destroy all monsters on the field if this card is Xyz summoned. And then it can basically reborn itself the next turn and do all kinds of crazy stuff. This is a really good card, and it's a rank 8. So if you're making rank 8 decks, this is actually a really cool are really cool. So and it's a good way into Zeus and stuff like that. But check that out, 2 level 8 monsters. It doesn't have to be Fire Kings or anything. So that's, I'm glad they did that. That might be really interesting with like the Horus decks and decks like that. Make going second a little bit easier because they have another negate to watch out for. One anima. This was, I would honestly rather this be Almirage, but I can't find my Almirage. So Link Haribo, when sometimes you'll get on Ponix and they'll impermit or something and you're just kind of stuck with Ponix. So, you know, just a little bit of defense to play through. SP, this deck Link climbs very easily. And, you know, SP, there's times you can go into it. And, of course, we're running the IP because this deck does so much recycling, resummoning. There's just so much interruption that you can have. I mean, it's a really good deck. I mean, it really is. Selene, if you're running the Simple Spalls, and Valor, you know, you have this. It's no-brainer to use this, and you're typically gonna be able to use her effect. Access code talker, like I said, this is not a cheap build. I mean, you've already seen the side decks like the extra deck's already like $150, $160 worth of cards. Access code just because it's access code, and sometimes you need to push really hard. Hita, the Fire Charmer Ablaze. This is a really cool monster. So everybody's playing Ash. There's a lot of Rescue Ace still around. So, you know, you'll pretty much always, you won't be making this unless you are kind of desperate. You know, like I say that. I mean, you can make it for Link climbing, but there's times where you want to make it, you know, because it's kind of your last resort because they asked you or something. And then the Heat Soul, this is probably one of the only ones that you have to run. And I would say the Hita, I would almost say access code's a must run in this. And then the SP, I don't know. But to make it meta, I would say so. And then the 3 super poly targets. So I'm doing Starving Venom. So this works good for Tyr, Manadium, Dragon Link, things like that. Mirror Dragon of the Swamp works for everything. Garura works for everything pretty much. So yeah, I mean this is a pretty good deck. I'm not lying. I mean, I think as of now, where it stands now, I'm gonna say that it probably sits like tier 1.5. It's probably not as good as definitely not as good as like Manadium and stuff and all those decks. Dragon Link probably still more powerful because it can just do more. This deck lacks the ability to build like an unbreakable board, but it can typically reborn a lot of stuff back, and it's a great survival deck to get you to the next turn. And you know, and it makes them use a lot of resources to clear your board, and then for you just to start bringing stuff back, it can really put a toll on people. And you know, there's just so many interactions. I really like it. It's a cool deck. I think it's really interesting. I'm curious to see how it does. May even take it to a regional that's coming up, and just, you know, I'll be the guinea pig.